Ladies and gentlemen, live from Indianapolis, Indiana, where it's going to be 108 degrees. Okay, if that's the field temperature here. But things are heating up in Indianapolis on August 24th, 2023. And it's time for POS Censored, where the man, the myth, the legend, the man on the right-hand side of the screen, Mr. Matt Proctor, shares all things point of sale so you don't go sell a complete POS. That is a piece of, well, you get it.
It's the perfect way to put it. Here, let me straighten myself out here.
There you go. Mr. Proctor, how are you? How is life in the new sauna that is Indianapolis there on the north side? And are you ready to talk nail salons today?
I am ready. All things salons, hair salons, nail salons, you name it. Let's discuss it today. You know, this is a very important topic and one that I think is not tapped into as much by a lot of our large ISO offices and agents out there. I think there's an intimidation factor that we need to kind of break that myth. So yeah, let's talk about it. And yes, the heat index is ridiculous. We're like 113, I think, of the heat index. So, and all over the country is frying right now. So kind of crazy.
Warm. But
hey, but my plants are still alive back here, Nate. I can't believe it.
Hey,
over 2 years, I kept these things alive. That's crazy. I'm not good at plants.
And I actually brought my plants in like I do in the winter last night because I was like, it's a little too hot. I don't have a lot, but I have all my spices and my thyme and my mint, and I have like a little tower.
No.
And so I brought them inside last night. They're looking good because I was
Are you supposed to do that? Because I think my jalapeno tree is like looking like death right now. So yeah, well, I thought they could take the heat.
When it goes over 100 degrees, they say that it's just too hot for it. Depending on each plant's a little bit different. I unfortunately, this isn't This Week in Growing. We're talking salons, Matt Proctor.
I'm sorry. I'm just excited for my true fried green tomatoes I'm apparently making outside. They're frying in the sun.
Well, I am excited about what it looks like to help get some more salons because the fact is a lot of times the salon business and even like nail salons, it's changed a lot. COVID really changed the salon business a lot, but there's still plenty of them going around. And they have, I took my daughter just before school started to go get her haircut. And, $120 later walking out. And I'm thinking to myself, there are 12 chairs that were all full, all paying $120. Like there's a lot of volume going through these places. There's a lot of opportunity, but it takes a specific software. And I just did this. I'll pull this up on the screen. I just did this. I typed into Google Bard. That's a chat or a AI chat. And I said, what are importance about nail salons? What's important about a nail salon software? And what it does is right here, it says, hey, one of the most popular nail salon management softwares is Vagaro, and Vagaro is everywhere in this industry, and they are totally not something we can integrate with, but we do have options, don't we, Matt? And
Oh
what's the
yeah.
first thing? I think a lot of our partners, the reason they've given up is because they don't think they can help, because they don't think that the what, mind, body, spirit, or whatever that one, and
Yeah,
Vigaro,
Booker, Vigaro, we
they're all,
replace those all the time. I mean,
yeah,
Vigaro is one of our biggest competitors. It's a good software. There's nothing
yeah.
wrong with Vigaro.
Yeah,
It's
and
definitely
they're good
everywhere.
competitors. I think people get scared of it. It's kind of like people got scared of
Yep.
Square and Toast. But you can come and say, hey, we have options and opportunities to come help salons of all types. What would you speak to encourage our partners? We'll start with this side. Why they should go after nail salons, hair salons, all the salons of all types.
Well, and you guys heard me say this before. It's all about being that consultant, and you're being there to help them, because what they don't realize is, and this is my opinion from salons that I've been into, whether it's nail, whether it's hair, and I know I don't look like I go to a hair salon, but I know a lot of owners. They're missing opportunities to actually grow their business and bring in more money. Like Nate just said, they're getting that money coming in on the chairs, but some of them aren't selling extra products. Some of them aren't sending out SMS text blast reminders. Some of these older softwares don't even really do that because they've been around 20, 30 years. And so having an open discussion on what their software does right now, obviously scheduling is number one, big time. They have to be able to have a detailed scheduling. We have that, okay, with our Growthzilla POS. But then how can I retain those customers? How can I find out if I get bad reviews? How can I find out, if they haven't been with me for 6 months, I want to send an automated reminder. Boom. Hey, don't forget, come back and see us. Maybe every 3 months, maybe every 1 month. That's what a true salon software brings to the table. And we don't want you guys to be intimidated by that or to think we don't have a solution. Okay. Because not only do we have an amazing solution for hair salons, but I looked at another software that was phenomenal for nail salons. And that's something that we've had difficulty kind of getting into in the past. But we do hair salons and full size hair salons extremely well. If they do booth rent, that's okay. If they do regular commission sales, that means that they are hourly employees and they get paid their tips, okay, and commissions. That's okay. The software can do that. Okay? If it's a multi-merchant account, okay, where they want each of them to have, I get my own money for my chair, that's okay. Okay? We can do all these things, as well as scanning and ringing up their product line, because you know what? That's great for them to bring on the products that, hey, we just put this in your hair, but to maintain for the next 3 months, here's a bottle of the shampoo, the conditioner, whatever it is, and upsell. Okay. A lot of salons don't think about that. But you bring that up and you start getting the gears going in their head of bringing in more profit to their business. And now you sound like that consultant. And that's building trust with them. They know that you're there to help them grow their business. Okay, so those are a few key things. Is this, scheduling we know is a must. We do that extremely well, just like Vigaro and Booker and their other software. It's what other added features? What about a check-in kiosk? Would you like that to have that nice big tablet? People walk in and boom, check right in with a QR code or putting in their phone number. Okay. We've even done menu type boards before, which Nate, I'm sure you've seen those, buddy. Sports Clips and some big corporate places have that, where you walk in, you see a name on the board. Who's up next? Okay, we can tie into those too if we want. So any type of salon, we've not run into one that we can't service in some way with our software.
What for the customer side experience of salon software? What are the things that are important? Because a lot of this, what we're seeing is, like, for me, I check. I don't make reservations or online appointments. I check in. And a lot of times when I use like Sports Clips or at other places, I want to actually make an appointment, and I schedule for 4:30 on Friday at the commissary downtown. And I make an appointment. As we're talking through those processes, what are some of the questions we need to ask? Because appointment scheduling, getting those and filling those chairs is job number one. And then value adding selling is job number two once they're in the chair, and making sure it's not just the haircut, but it's all the products that can go into it. But what are some of those questions that can help them in that consulting setup to be able to talk through what are their options and what are the opportunities, and maybe help them change how they do it? Because they might be using an Excel spreadsheet. Who knows? It's crazy how different
Oh
places
yeah,
use.
some of
So,
them are. Some of them are very old school. Well, it's talking to them about how they do the scheduling. Is it very basic? Is it just on their website, book now, and I click a button and I do the date and the time? Okay, we would consider that extremely basic. Or is it more detailed where it can be on their Instagram and on their Facebook, and they've got book now everywhere? But when I hit book, I can choose my stylist and have a drop down of who the stylists are. So I choose my favorite, and I can choose a service. Okay, I'm coming in for a mani pedi or an updo or whatever it might be. That's more of that detailed scheduling, and we find that to be much more effective. Do they want to have to put a payment on hold? Hey, we get that request sometimes. What if they no show? Can we charge them $25, $30? Clearly state that if you don't show for your appointment or if you cancel within less than 24 hours, you'll be charged $25. Okay, that's a question that comes up. We can do that as well. Okay, and by the way, guys, what I'm talking about here is Growthzilla POS. Most of you have probably heard of it, or you've gone to my PPT and seen some information on it. We've been partners with Shashir and Don and his team for several years now. I want to say about 4 or 5 years. They've always been great partners with us. You know, hardware is adjusted here and there throughout the years, but we have a lot of great programs through them. Perfect. Thank you, Nick. They also have done a lot of our larger deals. I mean, we had a 27 location last year we picked up. We've had a couple that were 4 to 8 location. So with that being said, enterprising is a great thing that they do. Don't be intimidated by that. Okay, just because you know, okay, these guys have 3 or 4 locations, that's okay. Still try to find out who that owner is. They might not be happy with their software, or they might be old school and still doing it with Excel spreadsheets, stuff like that. Okay, anywhere where we can automate the process and help, that will help them. And some of them, they don't think about this, guys. Okay, what about text reminder 24 hours before your appointment comes up? That's important. Okay, a lot of businesses are doing that now, not just salons. And that's a great reminder. I mean, my lawn care guys, you know, I get that text, so and so is coming out to your property tomorrow. That's great. I'm never going to remember when they're actually coming. But why wouldn't a salon benefit from that? And I think a lot of them don't do that. I've questioned many different women and men that go to these salons about what they like and dislike about their particular salon. And the majority of them don't do simple features like that. So having that open conversation, taking the time to watch this video, learn a little bit about Growthzilla is going to open your mind and make it easier for you to have that introduction and speak to an owner and sound educated. You don't have to be the expert by any means. We still want to get them on a demo, submit a lead, and get them with our Growthzilla expert. But you just want to stir the pot a little bit to get them excited. That's it. Find out what they like and dislike about their system, just like we talk about with any POS. Okay.
So let's talk app. A lot of these systems are now using apps to do the scheduling. What does Growthzilla have to offer? What are some of the other offerings for when it comes to making online scheduling part of the workspace? And then even when they're storing the information, like the fact that, hey, they got their haircut 6 weeks ago and they use this coloring and they use this XYZ, whatever it is. I just get my haircut. I don't know all the other bells and whistles that can go on. But what are some of the things that it does beyond just the scheduling that can do it and can, tie into even the app and choosing the right, person, because I love that. I get on the app and I choose which person I want to get my haircut with, and I set the schedule, and then boom, I get the text alerts like you were talking. What do we have to offer in that area?
Well, and that's one benefit we have of having Growthzilla as a partner. So it's our only software we've ever had that is all on the SMS platform. So they do that extremely well. There's apps for everything. It kind of surprised me how many systems still don't do apps, or they just don't get involved in that area. But Growthzilla is all about that. So not only will I'm blanking, sorry. Not only can the customer have an app, okay, so Nate, you'd have your own app that you can actually track everything and when you've been there, but each stylist can have their own app. The owner would have their own app that's totally separate. So the stylist would see, okay, Nate Manahan just booked an appointment. Perfect. It looks like he's getting a cut and color for his daughter, or he's coming in for his standard haircut, whatever it might be. So they're getting an alert. The entire system is also updating. So it's updating their calendar and popping it in while it's on everyone's phones. And then they can adjust that. They can adjust the settings. Okay, I do want to set him a reminder text 24 hours, maybe 48, 72 hours ahead of time, whatever they want to set. They can adjust that accordingly whenever they want. Or maybe they're like, you know what? I haven't seen Nate in a while. It's been about 3 months. I'm going to go ahead and program and set so that every 3 months it just shoots them a reminder text from your stylist, Nate. So it would come and say, hey, Bobby hasn't seen you in a while, Susie, whoever it is, please click here to book, your next appointment. We've got software we're looking at now that also connects with Yelp and reviews and things like that. That's another huge feature where it can stop a bad review before it happens. So they can submit a review that goes only to the owner. And if it's a 4 or 5 star or higher, it can automatically be posted on their Facebook, Instagram. If it's anything lower, it gets flagged so the owner can try to fix whatever was wrong. Okay, that's a huge thing. Okay, so, but yes, texting and apps, that's all very important with Growzilla. The other software that I'm going to be looking into a lot more detail is PC based. So it's much more robust because it's meant to be on a computer and whatever size computer the merchant wants to use. But they still have all those different fun bells and whistles, and they still do those things on checkout. And they got texting, they got all these other amazing things, even though it's not on, let's say, an iPad or an Android tablet. So if anything, you can be more robust when you're using a PC. And Growzilla works on either existing hardware they have, their PC, or they can send out Android. So they have nice Android tablets if they need new hardware.
Between nail salons and hair salons, what are some of the things that maybe we probably are more familiar, or at least I think everyone uses some type of hair salon or barber. But nail salons is a smaller subset, but still, probably 100 million people use a nail salon every year in the U.S.
Yep.
What are some of the unique things that make nail salons, and as you're looking to bring some new software on there, that make them unique and some of their unique needs?
Tips. Yeah. So let's talk about that. So I'm glad you brought this up. There are a lot of differences between nail salons and hair salons that I think a lot of people don't realize. Scheduling, not always a big deal for nail salons. Okay? The majority of nail salons, it is walk in, boom, 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 and they're cranking. They got people coming in, they got wait lists, they're doing it with pen and paper, things like that. They don't do near as much scheduling unless it's a much larger or nicer nail salon that wants to go to that length. Okay? But most softwares have that capability. If they ever want to schedule, it can. But when you're doing a hair salon and you got all this schedule, you know who's coming in when, you know how much the products cost, right? You're managing that, and you're according the tips and everything are already secured. Okay, they're already scheduled for that person. From a management standpoint, that makes it easier. In a nail salon, it can get much more complex. Okay, where you're going in and you might have 2 or 3 different things done, but there might be 2 or 3 people that do that. Okay, I've got my pedicure by this person, I got my nails done over here. I need to track which employee did what because each one's going to get tipped separately. Okay, those are things that aren't normal to a native software, to be able to have multiple stylists on one ticket. Okay, so I take my daughter, and her friend there, and I'm going to pay for all of them. I got a pedicure because I lost a bet, and then I'm getting nails done for both of the girls, and there's 3 totally different people doing all of our stuff. But having that as a feature is very unique just to nail salons, and it's software built for nail salons that does that. A hair salon usually doesn't do that, or they can't do it. So it's just a different frame of mind. When you walk in a nail salon, they're cranking people through. Language is another thing. Okay, let's just talk about that. Growzilla, I love them, great software, but it's English. That's it, English only. No Spanish, no Vietnamese, no Chinese, no different languages. The software that I'm looking at for nail salons, the owner speaks Vietnamese and Chinese. They've already worked on that. They've already worked out that support and that programming. And that's a big deal because depending on your market, they can be owned by a lot of, Vietnamese Americans. They can be owned by, a lot of people who speak Mandarin. And so having a software that can accommodate that and that can answer their questions and be on the phone with them and doing training, that's huge. Okay? And that's, I think, what holds back a lot of our agents is they're like, no, they're never going to change. They're old school, or they don't speak English. We can't go through it. And we want to kind of get rid of that stigma. Like, there are different ways we can still help them out. So yeah, hopefully that helped. That was a good question.
Well, I think, there's salons, it's not something, everyone is probably unique. There are things that they need to do that are, everyone maybe run a different way and been historically that way. When you're going in and you're replacing, they've been running it by hand tickets and call on the phone and all walk-ins versus you're trying to replace maybe a Booker or a Vigero? How does that differ when how you walk in and deal with salons that have been running on more antiquated ways and those who are already running on some of these competitors of ours?
I mean, it can be challenging either way, but I just have fun with it. I mean, if they're using an old antiquated, system where they are doing Excel spreadsheets and they're writing it down, just like we see the restaurants, you walk in and they're writing down what server's next. Those are fun. Hey, talk to them about what they like and dislike. How can we make their lives easier if they had all this and people don't have to call all the time and online booking, things like that. So I think those conversations are a little easier, just personally, because they don't understand what they're missing. All right, and that's where we can ask those simple questions about, would you like it if they could go to your Instagram and just go ahead and schedule an appointment because they see that amazing picture, okay, that Billy in the back just posted, and they can go right in there and they can schedule an appointment with Billy. Simple things like that. But when they already have a great software, then it comes down to the same thing we do in restaurants and retail. Okay? We're asking, what do you like and dislike? How long have you had this? Hey, I see a computer, seems like it's a little older. Does this just run right on your PC, or is this something they provided? Start asking those questions. They're going to tell you what they like and dislike. Okay, most of them have had the same software for a long time. What I've noticed throughout the many years of doing this, they don't switch very often. Okay, a lot of them are using Square. Get used to that. You start going to salons, you're gonna run into Square a lot. That means the rates are much higher. Hey, and customer support's probably not that good. Nothing against Square's software. They've added all kinds of features for salons because they dominate the smaller salon space. Okay, but that doesn't mean you still have a solution that's better. That you have a solution that can do edge pricing. Okay, that can go through EPX. You can still save them thousands of dollars a month, and that right there is your go-to. Okay, you guys know when you see Square pricing and things like that. Okay, so use that to your advantage. And actually, our system, Grozilla, that we're talking about today, and we're going to roll this out at a road show coming up that I'm going to do. But they're working on a new light version that's all going to work through their phone. And they're trying to get that through EPX now and certified. That's a game changer. If you can have the amount of capabilities that Grozilla can do, all be through a smartphone and be able to pay through a smartphone, just like the small stylists have a Square. Because right now, Grozilla is phenomenal for the mid-size and larger salons. But they're missing out on the smaller ones that Square is dominating. And so Shashir knows that, and his programmers know that. So they've been developing and working on having all of their amazing scheduling capabilities at a light license to start picking off some of those Squares. So TBD as far as when that'll be done and when we can get that announced. But that's a game changer too for all the Squares that you run into out there.
Well, and I would encourage you, if you get into this market and you're going to dive into helping out salons of all types, you can go to Square, you can set up your own free account, and then you can do a 30-day free trial. Remember to cancel it because they're going to start charging your accounts for it.
Right.
But for their online calendaring and scheduling, and you can learn how that software works, and then be able to speak knowledge, because Square has, I would guess, 10,000 to 20,000 salons by themselves using their software. And that's a great one to put. Also, then learning Vigaro. I know, because sometimes what happens is they become so tied to their CRM already being in their customer relationship management software, being tied to that. And especially some of these larger salons, they may have 1,000 or 2,500 clients and they don't want to move. But it's really not that hard to do that. It's, because Vigaro has an output and export, and all of our systems can import that. You can import all that data with just a little bit of time, and especially if the partner is really involved with it. So a lot of opportunities. Matt, what have I forgotten to ask? What do you want to add of going out?
I apologize, Nate. You mentioned CRM earlier, and I just completely forgot to go off of that. So, but yes, our softwares have very detailed CRMs, which is great. You need that customer database. You need to gather that information. One thing you brought up earlier, Nate, about that, their history is huge. Okay, they don't. People, we're all human. We don't remember. Like, what did I do 6 months ago? What was that product you put out here? Being able to easily pull that information up. Grouping them is a big deal in salons. Okay, so you can group families. Okay, Nate comes in, but then he brings his daughter and his son. And so we want to connect those all together so that we can also see what son and daughter got done a year ago, 6 months ago. So that's a big deal. And then being able to utilize and take that information and utilize that for mass text marketing. Okay, marketing's a big thing. A lot of POSs don't do it, but the salon softwares do it really well. Okay, you run a big Oktoberfest promotion. All month October, we're going to do cut and colors at 20% off. That's awesome. Send out a mass text to the 2,000 clients that you have in your book. Once again, these are things that owners don't always think about. But if it pops in your head and you're like, oh, wow, marketing, let's see how we can get more money, then they're loving you. And they're loving that you just brought that up. So, yeah, sorry, Nate.
No,
Lots of questions out of the CRM.
Our biggest thing is we just want you as partners to be reaching out and knowing that their salons are not something to shy away from. They can be extremely profitable. And Matt, let's go on the closing question on that profitability. I think a lot are doing edge dual pricing. And it's something that's especially in the, those salons when they're walking in, and whether it's booth rental or commission or however they're doing it, it's very helpful when they're not taking up all their fees with, 2.5% to 3% of their credit card fees. And there's a place you can be really competitive. And I think a lot of them are very interested in that conversation, right, Matt?
Well, this is a fun fact, Nate. We have not signed up through my office a single Growzilla merchant for a salon since the pandemic started, not on edge. I worded that right. Every single Growzilla we've done since the pandemic started has all been on edge. So I couldn't even, I have to look it up to see one that is doing traditional processing. It's just common now, especially with how the hair and nail industry and just salons in general were affected by the pandemic. I mean, I can't tell you how many shut the doors down. All right. So the fact that they're back open and people want to go see them, they don't have to be doing it out of their houses anymore. Everyone understands about passing the credit card fees on. Okay, so that's a no-brainer. If they're not doing that because they're using Square or whatever, they're just losing so much money, because if they don't go to them, they go somewhere else, they're getting charged of credit card fees. It's so common right now. So yeah, we just had 2 Growzillas sign up yesterday. Both of them, edge pricing, dual pricing, cash discount, whatever you want to call it.
So let's help some merchants. Let us continue to grow our business, and let's use salon softwares. There we go. I'm going to get the words out that are going to help you. The POS pros are there to help you go out and get some salons. Closing words today, Matt, as we close out. Anything you want to leave with? I
will update everyone as we get closer with nail software. Okay. I'm going to keep those conversations going, and with Growzilla and their light version, because we're losing a lot of smaller merchants. And when I say small, they still might do 15, 20 grand. You pick up 5 of those, every month, it adds up. But I'll update everyone once we get knowledge on the EPX side of it. But that's it. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Use us. Help. Let us help you.
A busy salon, I was just reading this, a busy salon averages per chair $1,400 a day per chair. On a busy one, yep. And you start thinking about that when they start adding in, person comes in, spends 2 hours there, gets a color dyed, gets up to $275. They're going to flip that chair over 5 or 6 times a day suddenly, and you're going to have 8 chairs and multiple stylists within a place. These are great opportunities, huge wins. Go after some of these salons, and even those smaller salons, like we were talking, when we have the right software, they're doing 10, and they don't like to change. A lot of work, a lot of opportunity. So Matt, thank you so much.
Yep.
Remember to keep learning. There's so many things to go on. Go to YouTube, hit subscribe, go to the playlist for POS Uncensored. Excuse me. And learn there's so many new things. We've been getting a lot of watching, or we're going to push it out some more on the Corona. And also you can go to our Instagram account, My Pay Protect, that Instagram account. That's just for our partner channel. We're putting out little clips about all these every day. Every day it clips out. Nice. We got programmed out. We had one on Corona just yesterday that Matt, you'll see his beautiful face talking about Corona POS. So thank you guys very much. We'll see you next time.
Bushy on POS over here.
Hey, yeah. So you could go to the salon. They'd color that up for you, trim it up.
I'm due, buddy. It's getting long. It's time to trim. Next time you see me, it'll look a lot better.
There we go. On behalf of Matt Proctor, I'm Nate Manahan. Next time on POS Uncensored. Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.